It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. Rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth. Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves. There are 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil to one who is striking at the root. Our truest life is when we are in dreams awake. An early morning walk is a blessing for the whole day. Disobedience is the true foundation of liberty. The obedient must be slaves. Goodness is the only investment that never fails. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor. What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lives within us. It is not enough to be busy. So are the ants. The question is, what are we busy about? You must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find your eternity in each moment. I would rather sit on a pumpkin and have it all to myself than be crowded on a velvet cushion. A man is rich in proportion to the number of things he can afford to let alone. As if you could kill time without injuring eternity. The language of friendship is not words but meanings. Nothing makes the earth seem so spacious as to have friends at a distance. They make the latitudes and longitudes. Could a greater miracle take place than for us to look through each other's eyes for an instant? As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simpler. Solitude will not be solitude, poverty will not be poverty, nor weakness weakness. If I knew for a certainty that a man was coming to my house with the conscious design of doing me good, I should run for my life. None are so old as those who have outlived enthusiasm. It is better to have your head in the clouds and know where you are, than to breathe the clearer atmosphere below them and think that you are in paradise. If the machine of government is of such a nature that it requires you to be the agent of injustice to another, then, I say, break the law. Live your life, do your work, then take your hat. Dreams are the touchstones of our character. Be not simply good, be good for something. What is once well done is done forever. To affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts. What is called genius is the abundance of life and health. The lawyer's truth is not truth, but consistency or a consistent expediency. This world is but a canvas to our imagination. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Things do not change, we change. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Make the most of your regrets. Never smother your sorrow, but tend and cherish it till it comes to have a separate and integral interest. To regret deeply is to live afresh. Many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it is not fish they are after. I say, beware of all enterprises that require new clothes, and not rather a new wearer of clothes. Never look back unless you are planning to go that way. Heaven is under our feet as well as over our heads. Pursue some path, however narrow and crooked, in which you can walk with love and reverence. I am grateful for what I am and have. My thanksgiving is perpetual. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. The most I can do for my friend is simply be his friend. There is no remedy for love but to love more. Live the life you've dreamed. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. Nature will bear the closest inspection. She invites us to lay our ray level with her smallest leaf and take an insect view of its plane. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. Thank God men cannot fly and lay waste the sky as well as the earth. Do what you love. Know your own bone. Gnaw at it, bury it, unearth it, and gnaw it still. Men have become the tools of their tools. Live your beliefs and you can turn the world around. That man is rich whose pleasures are the cheapest. Friends, they cherish one another's hopes. They are kind to one another's dreams. Nature is full of genius, full of the divinity, so that not a snowflake escapes its fashioning hand. Aim above morality. Be not simply good, be good for something. Money is not required to buy one necessity of the soul. The bluebird carries the sky on his back. It is never too late to give up our prejudices. Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is also a prison. Truths and roses have thorns about them. There is no value in life except what you choose to place upon it, and no happiness in any place except what you bring to it yourself. The cost of a thing is the amount of what I will call life, which is required to be exchanged for it, immediately or in the long run. If we will be quiet and ready enough, we shall find compensation in every disappointment. There are moments when all anxiety and stated toil are becalmed in the infinite leisure and repose of nature. Time is but the stream I go a-fishing in. Do not hire a man who does your work for money, but him who does it for love of it. I had 3 chairs in my house, 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, 3 for society. The heart is forever inexperienced. Before printing was discovered, a century was equal to 1,000 years. When I hear music, I fear no danger. I am invulnerable. I see no foe. I am related to the earliest times and to the latest. Not only must we be good, but we must also be good for something. We are not what we are, nor do we treat or esteem each other for such, but for what we are capable of being. We are always paid for our suspicion by finding what we suspect. The light which puts out our eyes is darkness to us. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. There is more day to dawn. The sun is but a morning star. The finest workers in stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water working at their leisure with a liberal allowance of time. Truth is always in harmony with herself, and is not concerned chiefly to reveal the justice that may consist with wrongdoing. True friendship can afford true knowledge. It does not depend on darkness and ignorance. Do not be too moral. You may cheat yourself out of much life so. Every creature is better alive than dead, men and moose and pine trees, and he who understands it aright will rather preserve its life than destroy it. The man who goes alone can start today, but he who travels with another must wait till that other is ready. I have always been regretting that I was not as wise as the day I was born. Any fool can make a rule, and any fool will mind it. We must walk consciously only part way toward our goal, and then leap in the dark to our success. It takes two to speak the truth, one to speak, and another to hear. What is the use of a house if you haven't got a tolerable planet to put it on? The smallest seed of faith is better than the largest fruit of happiness. The greatest compliment that was ever paid me was when one asked me what I thought, and attended to my answer. Where there is an observatory and a telescope, we expect that any eyes will see new worlds at once. Every generation laughs at the old fashions, but follows religiously the new. Nature puts no question and answers none which we mortals ask. She has long ago taken her resolution. How does it become a man to behave towards the American government today? I answer that he cannot without disgrace be associated with it. In human intercourse, the tragedy begins, not when there is misunderstanding about words, but when silence is not understood. The perception of beauty is a moral test. It is what a man thinks of himself that really determines his fate. It is a characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things. To a philosopher, all news, as it is called, is gossip, and they who edit and read it are old women over their tea. After the first blush of seeing comes its indifference. The universe is wider than our views of it. Most of the luxuries and many of the so-called comforts of life are not only not indispensable, but positive hindrances to the elevation of mankind. It is only when we forget all our learning that we begin to know. If you can speak what you will never hear, if you can write what you will never read, you have done rare things. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life. If you would convince a man that he does wrong, do right. Men will believe what they see. The language of excitement is at best picturesque merely. You must be calm before you can utter oracles. That government is best which governs least. Books are the treasured wealth of the world, and the fit inheritance of generations and nations. The life which men praise and regard as successful is but one kind. Why should we exaggerate any one kind at the expense of the others? If an injustice requires you to be the agent of injustice to another, then, I say, break the law. Let your life be a counter friction to stop the government machine. We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aid, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn. Do not trouble yourself much to get new things, whether clothes or friends. Sell your clothes and keep your thoughts. Some are reputed sick and some are not. It often happens that the sicker man is the nurse to the sounder. Men are born to succeed, not to fail. We shall see but a little way if we require to understand what we see. All this worldly wisdom was once the unamiable heresy of some wise man. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. A truly good book teaches me better than to read it. I must soon lay it down and commence living on its hint. What I began by reading, I must finish by acting. A man's interest in a single bluebird is worth more than a complete but dry list of the fauna and flora of a town. Read the best books first, or you may not have a chance to read them at all. The law will never make a man free. It is men who have got to make the law free. The squirrel that you kill in jest dies in earnest. As in geology, so in social institutions, we may discover the causes of all past changes in the present invariable order of society. Do what nobody else can do for you. Omit to do anything else. All men are children, and of one family. The same tale sends them all to bed, and wakes them in the morning. It is best to avoid the beginnings of evil. Justice is sweet and musical, but injustice is harsh and discordant. Old deeds for old people, and new deeds for new. Night is certainly more novel and less profane than day. I left the woods for as good a reason as I went there. Perhaps it seemed to me that I had several more lives to live and could not spare any more time for that one. There never was and is not likely soon to be a nation of philosophers, nor am I certain it is desirable that there should be. It is remarkable how closely the history of the apple tree is connected with that of man. It is not part of a true culture to tame tigers, any more than it is to make sheep ferocious. To be awake is to be alive. The only obligation which I have a right to assume is to do at any time what I think right. Our houses are such unwieldy property that we are often imprisoned rather than housed by them. Those whom we can love, we can hate. To others we are indifferent. How vain it is to sit down to write when you have not stood up to live. In wildness is the preservation of the world. There is one consolation in being sick, and that is the possibility that you may recover to a better state than you were ever in before. What is human warfare but just this? An effort to make the laws of God and nature take sides with one party. Nature and human life are as various as our several constitutions. Who shall say what prospect life offers to another? How can any man be weak who dares to be at all? There is no odor so bad as that which arises from goodness tainted. In the long run, men hit only what they aim at. Therefore, they had better aim at something high. It is usually the imagination that is wounded first, rather than the heart, it being much more sensitive. A man cannot be said to succeed in this life who does not satisfy one friend. There are certain pursuits which, if not wholly poetic and true, do at least suggest a nobler and finer relation to nature than we know. The keeping of bees, for instance. Our inventions are wont to be pretty toys, which distract our attention from serious things. They are but improved means to an improved end. Thor with her gentle persuasion is more powerful than Thor with his hammer. The one melts, the other breaks into pieces. The rarest quality in an epitaph is truth. If misery loves company, misery has company enough. The savage in man is never quite eradicated. To be admitted to nature's hearth costs nothing. None is excluded, but excludes himself. You have only to push aside the curtain. It is the greatest of all advantages to enjoy no advantage at all. I have the habit of attention to such excess, that my senses get no rest but suffer from a constant strain. I have been as sincere a worshipper of Aurora as the Greeks. There is no just and serene criticism as yet. How sweet is the perception of a new natural fact! In my afternoon walk I would fain forget all my morning occupations and my obligations to society. Nothing goes by luck in composition. It allows of no tricks. The best you can write will be the best you are. How could youths better learn to live than by at once trying the experiment of living? If a man constantly aspires, is he not elevated? It is too late to be studying Hebrew. It is more important to understand even the slang of today. May we so love as never to have occasion to repent of our love. Shall I not have intelligence with the earth? Am I not partly leaves and vegetable mold myself? Front yards are not made to walk in, but at most, through, and you could go in the back way. If I seem to boast more than is becoming, my excuse is that I brag for humanity rather than for myself. We know but a few men, a great many coats and breeches. What old people say you cannot do, you try and find that you can. Old deeds for old people, and new deeds for new. There is no rule more invariable than that we are paid for our suspicions by finding what we suspect. To have done anything just for money is to have been truly idle. The fibers of all things have their tension and are strained like the strings of an instrument. I put a piece of paper under my pillow, and when I could not sleep I wrote in the dark. The man who is dissatisfied with himself, what can he do? There is more of good nature than of good sense at the bottom of most marriages. It appears to be a law that you cannot have a deep sympathy with both man and nature. I have a great deal of company in the house, especially in the morning when nobody calls. Books are to be distinguished by the grandeur of their topics even more than by the manner in which they are treated. God reigns when we take a liberal view, when a liberal view is presented to us. Faith never makes a confession. I have found that hollow, which even I had relied on for solid. Ignorance and bungling with love are better than wisdom and skill without. How many things there are concerning which we might well deliberate whether we had better know them. An unclean person is universally a slothful one. In the meanest are all the materials of manhood, only they are not rightly disposed. There is always a present and extant life, be it better or worse, which all combine to uphold. Men have respect for scholarship and learning greatly out of proportion to the use they commonly serve. I am sorry to think that you do not get a man's most effective criticism until you provoke him. Severe truth is expressed with some bitterness. It is not desirable to cultivate a respect for the law so much as for the right. Nay, be a Columbus to whole new continents and worlds within you, opening new channels, not of trade, but of thought. Through our own recovered innocence, we discern the innocence of our neighbors. I often visited a particular plant 4 or 5 miles distant, half a dozen times within a fortnight, that I might know exactly when it opened. Faith keeps many doubts in her pay. If I could not doubt, I should not believe. It is an interesting question how far men would retain their relative rank if they were divested of their clothes. I have found that no exertion of the legs can bring two minds much nearer to one another. They can do without architecture who have no olives nor wines in the cellar. There is danger that we lose sight of what our friend is absolutely, while considering what she is to us alone. There is but one stage for the peasant and the actor. Is the babe young? When I behold it, it seems more venerable than the oldest man. I think that there is nothing, not even crime, more opposed to poetry, to philosophy, aye, to life itself than this incessant business. I have seen how the foundations of the world are laid, and I have not the least doubt that it will stand a good while. There is no more fatal blunderer than he who consumes the greater part of his life getting his living. Generally speaking, a howling wilderness does not howl. It is the imagination of the traveler that does the howling. Being is the great explainer. Every people have gods to suit their circumstances. I have thought there was some advantage even in death, by which we mingle with the herd of common men. Only he is successful in his business who makes that pursuit which affords him the highest pleasure sustain him. Books can only reveal us to ourselves, and as often as they do us this service we lay them aside.